On the men's side, Indiana tonight travels to Minnesota to take on the Golden Gophers in a game that puts a lot of weird pressure on, because I hate to use the word must win, but you can't lose to Minnesota. I don't care where you're playing them. You cannot lose to Minnesota.
Yeah. It's a bad loss. So, it would be their worst loss. Yeah, you can't, and that's a weird place to play. And, like every Big Ten arena, people can think back to House of Horror nights up there. And the thing about Indiana, they've looked great the last 3 games, and they looked really good against Michigan State because Galloway and Bates hit 8 out of 9 threes. That's probably not going to happen again. And Trace Jackson Davis is sort of slowing the Zach Edey Express for Big Ten Player of the Year. The way he keeps playing the way he's played the last 3 games, he deserves as much consideration as anybody as Big Ten Player of the Year.
I said that yesterday. He outplayed him in the month of January.
He did. I mean, his numbers are 28 and 12 in the last 3 games. That's what he's averaging, and he's passing the ball really well. One thing that I think I've read is that Minnesota's big man, Dawson Garcia, has a sprained ankle and is unlikely to play tonight. So this should be a game that Trace Jackson Davis,
he could score 40 if he wants.
He should bring it tonight and be effective. And the thing that I try and analyze, I believe that in some ways he's benefited from Race Thompson being out, because the area around the lane is not as clogged now, and he's got more room to operate. He's more effective on the low block, and he's more effective on the high block and on the pick and rolls, because it doesn't seem like the guy who usually guards Race is down there sagging off and making it
especially if Geronimo was in there. He's got a lot more flexibility than Race does, and it moves further out to the perimeter.
Yeah. And so I don't know. That's going to be interesting. And I was very impressed with Race Thompson's comments yesterday during his press conference. The one takeaway was like, hey, I don't expect to start Ray. Jordan has played well and earned the position, and I'm going to have to earn my minutes back, which is for a guy, for a 6th-year guy, that's really, that's the kind of stuff any team needs, is a guy to say that and believe that.
Yeah, because this team is needed to be more of a team. It seems like even early on they were playing well, but they were playing as parts, individual parts. And now they seem to be playing not only together, but for each other. I've used the term a couple times in the pressers here of late, emotion. I have not seen emotion from this team all year until here recently. Right. And that is when you see that emotion, you know that you're locked in. Even Miller Kopp, not doing much else, he brought emotion, if nothing else. So he
dove
on the floor.
Dove on the floor.
Exactly.
I mean, they've just got to defend the way they've been defending the last 3 games. And I was shocked when I was there on, you were there, I was there on Sunday, when I saw they were going to win by double digits. Like, that's their first 3-game winning streak in the Big Ten since 2018 or 19 when Romeo was there. I mean, that's hard to believe that they hadn't won 3 straight Big Ten games for that long. And I think that year they finished the regular season with 4 in a row. So that's also the last time. But if they do it by double figures, 4 straight double-figure wins in the Big Ten, it goes back longer than that.
And I expect this team to win 5 straight. On paper, you look at it, they should win 5 straight. And I'm not saying that they can't beat Maryland, because Maryland's not been that good, but at home they have been. They're like 9-1 the last time.
They got blown up by UCLA, but they haven't been beat in conference at home yet.
And so that says a lot. So going there is going to be tough for Indiana, especially after winning 5 in a row. Your number comes up.
If Indiana wants to, get back in the race, and it's going to be a long shot, they got no margin for error anymore, but get back in the race for the Big Ten title, or at least get second place, and certainly to get a top 4 and get a double bye, they got to win these 2 games this week. I mean, they've already given up their margin for error by losing that game at Iowa that they gave away and losing at home to Northwestern. So they got to win these next 2 games and get back in the race. And if you look at Purdue's schedule, it's easier than Indiana's.
It is easier than anybody's. Nobody's catching Purdue. Right. No one is going to catch Purdue. That's
Purdue's their schedule set up for Purdue to win the league. It really is. And I like Purdue. I'm not being a Purdue basher. Purdue's good. They deserve all the accolades they get. They're a very good team, but they've got a break in the schedule this year.
And they won the two games, I think, that's going to win the conference for them. The win against Michigan State and the win at Ohio State, those two, and Nebraska for that matter, I guess.
Wasn't that OT, Nebraska?
Yeah, I mean, so those three games right there, that's going to win the league for them, because if they lose those three games, they're right in the mix with everybody, and this Big Ten is like the rest of the Big Ten right now with everybody below it. And how about that? I don't. It's been a long time that I can remember where the Big Ten was this close. I think someone said yesterday there's 2 games difference between 2 and 12.
Yeah, I looked at Ken Palm when I was up at after the IU game was over on Sunday, and at that point he had the projected Big Ten standings for the end of the season. He had 8 teams at 10-10, and 2 others at 11-9. So that would have been, 10 of the 14 teams all within the same, same record or 1 game difference.
And normally that would be a bad thing, but when you see that many, that, damn, there's some parity there.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this for several years. The one thing the Big Ten need, and they need a team, I don't care who it is, to get to the Final Four. I mean, they really need a team to win the national championship because they haven't had one for so long. But they need to do better in the tournament than they've done the last couple of years. And they're good enough to, but they need to get a team into the Final Four for the prestige overall of the league.
What happens with this Indiana squad, which I know that's a crystal ball question, but if Xavier comes back, we've seen Race, they're trying to integrate him in, but I think it's a lot easier to integrate Race in than it's going to be to integrate Xavier in, because he brings such a different dynamic, and he brings it at a different speed that this team is not playing at right now, but they look a little more comfortable in their offense right now.
Yeah. Race, although he came back Sunday, he really wasn't very effective and didn't play that many minutes. He only put him in, I think, in the second half because Geronimo.
That was more for PR, wasn't it?
Fouled. Yeah. I mean, Geronimo and Renew both fouled out, right? Or they both I know Geronimo fouled out, and I think Renew did too. That's why he came back in the second game.
If he didn't, I would be surprised. He usually does.
It'll be tough. I mean, I think you have to bring him off the bench and play him, a shorter amount of time. And he's a guard. He's been, unlike Race, he's been out a longer time. Unlike Race, so the conditioning is going to be a factor. Unlike Race, he's been in a boot and not been able to do some of the conditioning stuff, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure he's done some swimming or upper body cardio and stuff, and plus, there's going to be a comfort factor of if you've had a broken bone in your foot, and I believe that's what he had, of just going out there immediately and stressing it by, pounding it and playing a bunch of minutes.
And the way he plays, he does not play softly.
Yeah.
I mean, he's making hard cuts.
Yeah, and the Geronimo, Galloway, and Bates trio, it's worked pretty well. And CJ Gunn, although his shot's still not going down, he does contribute on defense, and I just think he needs to hit a few and get some of his confidence. He's got the marks of being a good shooter, and hopefully Johnson would have the same kind of mental view of things as Race, and of saying it's really it's not the Xavier Johnson show, it's the Indiana basketball show, and what can he do to enhance their chances to have success in the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament, because that's really where he can contribute. I have a hard time believing he's going to be able. When's he possibly going to be back? Early March?
You know what? All it is conjecture. You've heard late February, which to me means early March, basically. Which how good of a time is that to bring in someone that has not been playing, and especially when you have had a turnaround. Because to have that turnaround, it took changes, and so changes were made, and now they've been going in a direction that they're playing how they're playing, and I don't know what it would be like to insert. Like I said, he plays at such a different speed that there's no way that I don't see that setting the apple cart.
Right. He's still in the boot. I mean, he's not close to coming back at this point. So, yeah, I agree. I mean, just develop the group you have going now. I mean, it's been a long time since Indiana's beaten Wisconsin, Illinois, and Michigan State all by double figures. So,
and you talk about developing players. This has forced Indiana to develop players that they weren't really developing. Trey Galloway is going to be one of the great all-around players for this team in the next couple of years. He is gaining so much invaluable experience handling the ball. Now he's starting to look for a shot, score the ball, playing defense. He's doing a little bit of everything, and he's doing it better each game.
Yeah, the two things I really have noticed about Galloway is, one, when he's open, he's not hesitating to shoot the three. And obviously he made them against Michigan State, so that was a big contribution. And the second thing is, we don't see as much as what we saw the first 2 years, is when he would drive the ball, full speed ahead down to the baseline and get up in the air with the ball and not know what he was going to do with it, and then throw it and oftentimes make a turnover. He's not doing that as much. More of his drives are into the middle of the court, and he knows what he's doing with the ball. So that's just from the experience he's gained of playing more against this level. And he's always been, an engaged defender. He really is. And because he has size, that makes him valuable. He can guard a variety of different guards. So yeah, and Bates has always been an enthusiastic shooter, and for him to make 5 in one game like that, including that one ridiculous one where the ball got batted back to him and he just was 5 feet behind the line and just jacked it up and it went in. Confidence goes a long way. It's unrealistic to expect him to shoot 5 for 6 from 3 every night. What I want to see Bates become better at is, making your teammates better. They need more guys. If you could get Bates to run some pick and roll with Trace Jackson Davis too, in addition to Jalen Hood Schifino, so you have multiple options on that, makes the offense more fearsome.